Last week, Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal pointed to Amazon India's losses and wondered whether e-commerce players were not indulging in predatory pricing. Predatory pricing happens when one heavily funded dominant player pushes out all small vendors in the market and obviously, as the name suggests, dominates the position. Is that what is happening in India? Or has the e-commerce sector actually benefited the country? Hello and welcome back to Business Matters at the Hindu with me, K. Bharat Kumar. In the speech last week, Minister Goyal said that when large online retail companies announce investments for the country, it is mostly to make up for losses that they may have made in the past. The minister has been quoted as saying, when Amazon says it's going to invest $1 billion in the country, we forget the underlying story that the $1 billion is not coming in for any great service or any great investment to support the Indian economy. They made $1 billion loss in their balance sheet and they have to fill in that loss. He also said that in the next decade, half of India's market could likely become part of the e-commerce network, and that is a matter of concern according to him. On the implications of e-commerce, Mr. Goyal said that what is needed now is a dispassionate and data-driven analysis of the impact of e-commerce. He also pointed out that the decline in mom and pop stores in countries such as the US and those in Europe has been due to the rise of e-commerce. It may be noted that India is not the only country to look at behemoths with concern. In 2019, the US Department of Justice said it was looking into how major online platforms have achieved market power and how their practices may have reduced competition, stifled innovation, or otherwise harmed consumers. In fact, earlier that very year, Amazon chief Jeff Bezos told shareholders that large entities do deserve to be inspected and scrutinized, according to a CNBC report. But one perspective that's coming out in the Indian context is, sure, such large ecosystems may have issues that need fixing, but does that mean that the systems themselves are undesirable? In an article in our group publication Business Line, my colleague Aarti Krishnan emphatically argues that with all its problems, e-commerce has done more for ease of living in India than policymakers through their regulatory interventions. E-commerce accounts for 7% of India's total retail trade. Granted, it could be in the cause of displacement of some small businesses, cause some job losses in specific segments like mobile phones or manufacturing of other electronic gadgets. But let's weigh all this against the consumer gains that have been generated. Ms. Krishnan says India's consumer protection laws have traditionally been weak and their enforcement ineffectual. This has long meant that consumers had limited choices and little recourse against lackadaisical service and defective products. And it is not just affluent city folk who benefited from all this technology. E-commerce has helped put inaccessible products and brands within the reach of lower income shoppers in the hinterland of the country too. With COVID providing a push, India added 120 million online shoppers between 2019 and 2022, a total that could go up to 250 million. Of these, close to 70% reside outside Tier 1 cities. A third earn less than Rs 5 lakh per annum. So, what this means is that the e-commerce juggernaut is enabling last mile deliveries. In the race to service more and more PIN codes, the ecosystem is developed to help deliver almost any item to every nook and cranny of India. With both logistics providers and payment gateways offering services to small businesses, the latter two can ship to any corner of India and likely become independent of e-commerce platforms after they reach a critical mass. Let me give you two examples from my own circle of friends. One of them wanted to order a set of nesting tables, and for some reason they did not like any model that they saw on an e-commerce platform except from a seller in Rajasthan. And the buyer was willing to bear the logistics cost and wait for the time it takes to be delivered home. And that seller in Rajasthan could never have discovered this buyer but for this e-commerce platform. And if the buyer was willing to wait and pay for the logistics cost, then why not? The second example reflects the development of the ecosystem. Another friend of mine has a daughter studying in Bangalore. The friend is based in Chennai. One night, the child developed allergies and did not have the medicine that the doctor had prescribed as SOS use. So my friend went on to Google with the help of Google Maps, found a pharmacy that was close to this hostel, used a Google listing to find their mobile number, called them and checked if the medicine was available. It was. So he booked a service, a delivery service such as Dunzo or Swiggy or Genie, And within half an hour of finding the pharmacy, the medicine was in the child's hands. This was when? 11 p.m. in the night. Think about this. First came the likes of Amazon and Flipkart. Then someone thought if you can hook up sellers and buyers for goods, why not connect restaurants and those who want to order home food? And then that expanded to why not use delivery people to carry items, be it household or for office, from one point to another within the city. The common thread to all this is the delivery commute, connecting any 2 points within a city for a specific service. What do you think? Do you believe that e-commerce helps you save in terms of value as well as effort versus going in person and shopping? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. As to the question of predatory pricing, it is rare that any one entity takes control of an entire market by sheer virtue of access to capital and then monopolized it, especially in free market conditions. In this instance, already, as Ms. Krishnan points out, vertical e-tailers such as those selling specifically baby products or cosmetics, as well as quick commerce providers such as Zepto, Blinkit, Swiggy, are both giving e-commerce giants a run for their money. And before we wind down this episode, here's a nugget of information for the week. Did you know that on average, online vendors employ 54% more people and almost twice the number of female employees compared with offline vendors? This is as per the report that Minister Goyal released last week and at which conference he raised his concerns. And here is this week's quiz question. When and where did electronic commerce first take place and what was the first item delivered? And the answer to last week's question, what year was the Factory Act passed in Britain? The answer is 1833. Quite a few people got this right in the comment section in last week's video. Several factory acts were passed in Britain since 1802, but the 1833 Act was specifically meant to protect children from exploitation. That's all we have for you this week. Do write to us. It's an interesting topic, highly debatable, e-commerce sector, whether it's benefited the country or it hasn't. And do not forget to share, like, and subscribe. Till we meet again next week, have a lovely time ahead.